My name is Ryan Williams. I'm a full-time guide slash fly tyer. This topwater fly is just a real basic kind of deal. Craft fur tail, which I really believe is key, and little surface seducer popper head. This is my go-to popper, all around really. I'm going to start out using Danville 210 thread here. And then we're going craft fur for the tail. Get a hefty amount here. The big deal to this fly is the craft fur tail. I've experimented with all kinds of topwater flies, and I found that just a simple craft fur tail is the best thing you can do to a topwater fly by a long shot. So I'll have all sorts of different patterns like diver heads, slider heads, whatever, smaller popper heads, but they all got craft fur tails on them. And just a lot of movement when the fly's sitting there nice and still in the water when you pause it. That craft fur just never stops moving. So here I'm just kind of cleaning it up, getting the excess little bushy parts off there. And this is the craft fur cream color. Gonna lay a little base layer of thread down. Give that thread a spin so it cinches down nice and tight. That is the TMCO 8089 number 6. Killer topwater bass hook there. It's a little light if you were going stripers or some kind of bigger fish, but great for bass. All right, got the first little bit of craft fur in there. Now we're going to put some flash in there for the tail. This is just regular pearl flashaboo. Set that there for now. And then we're going to do some lateral scale as well. And I go a pretty hefty amount of flash for the tail. Better to go too much flash than too little for these topwater flies. Give that thread a little spin. And just cinch that all the way down nice and tight. And then we'll give that a cut right about there. I have a mark on my vise so I know exactly where to cut each time. Clean this up a little more. Now I don't want this craft fur to extend past the flash, so I'm going to trim the back end of this a little bit here. Take a little more of that out. Cinch down the rest of the craft fur there. Okay, now we're just going to do a thin little strip of the gray craft fur on top of the cream. Gives it a nice little accent. Probably doesn't make too much of a difference. Makes it look nice though. trim the tip of this here as well. I'm not spreading that around or anything, just a solid little layer right on top. I'm just going to wrap all the way back up here, kind of getting things ready for the popper body and the next step and whatnot. Alright, so there's our tail. I'm a big believer in this craft fur tail. You can do any kind of head there. It's going to be a great topwater fly, or even a streamer for that matter. You can get creative with the different heads. That tail is absolutely key, though, in my opinion. So now we got cross-cut rabbit strips in cream. I'm going to add some of that on here. Cinch that down nice and tight. And I'm keeping everything kind of far back so we have plenty of room for that popper head. I'm wrapping these real tight so it's nice and sturdy. And there we go. Now it's just time for the popper head. Nice and simple basic fly. Nice and bushy, gives a good size profile, but it's still small, really lightweight, nice and easy to cast. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to just tie the knot here. Now we're taking the Flyman Fishing Company, the Surface Seducer popper heads in the size medium in white. You could do this fly in any color, but white or the cream color is my favorite. You can't really go wrong with white flies for topwater. And just poke a little hole in the middle of it. Kind of down, poking the hole in the bottom half of the deal there. Now I'm just gonna jam this puppy on so it kind of forms its shape. And we get some Zap-A-Gap or whatever kind of glue. Put a somewhat small amount on there. Make sure that thing's straight. Okay, it's almost done now. That guy pushed that back a little bit. Should be good right there. Now we're just going to add some weed guards in. Then it's finished. Or then we go eyes actually, and then it's done. These weed guards here, I've never found them in fly shops. The company is called Do It. They make jig building products and whatnot for conventional gear. And this is just the Do It wire weed guard. Buy a pack of them, comes with a whole ton of them. They got a little loop on there. I'm going to put that little loop up right by the eye of the hook. Couple little wraps there. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Put that little loop going the opposite side of the hook now. Cinch that on down. Kind of straighten these up. And whip finish. And you can cast this fly, any of these flies with these weed guards, you could just straight up cast it into a tree. It's not going to snag. Pull it out. Pull it right on out nice and easy. It'll make this topwater fly pop right over logs, any kind of weeds. They really work good. And at this point, I'm just getting frustrated fishing topwater flies without these weed guards. I love them so much. They work so good. All right, so that's pretty much done. We're going to go... I'm going to put the eyes on there now. These are the 6mm Flyman Fishing Company, the Fish Skull Ice Reel Eyes. Really cool looking eyes. Man, my hands are shaky. I drank too much coffee this morning. All right, so the eyes are on now. Then we're just going to put some UV glue on the knot where the weed guard is, and that's done. We'll go UV thin for that. A pretty generous amount on there always. If you don't glue this good, these weed guards can kind of shake loose and wiggle loose or whatever. And then these weed guards, when you catch fish, they are going to bend a lot, but it doesn't matter. It just kind of looks, just doesn't look too good. Still works great for popping the flies over whatever you need to pop it over. And that's it. No name for this fly, just my go-to topwater popper. I use this thing anywhere.